Welcome to Python Dictionaries for Business Records, a module on translating spreadsheet logic into structured Python syntax. We've been storing individual values in variables and processing flat lists of numbers, but real business data is structured. A customer record has a name, a tier, a spend total, and email. A product has a name, a price, a quantity, and a status. Storing these 5 fields in 5 separate variables works for one record, but falls apart immediately when you have hundreds. Dictionaries solve this by bundling all the fields of a single record into a one named object. By the end of this module, you'll be able to build a dictionary from a spreadsheet row, read and update individual fields, iterate over lists of dictionaries, and filter records by their field values, and complete the toolkit for a business data manipulation. This slide makes a case for dictionaries by showing exactly where lists break down for structured data. A list stores values by position, index 0, index 1, index 2. But what does index 1 represent? Without reading the code that created the list, you can't know. Is it the tier, the spend, the email? Lists provide sequential storage but zero context. The dictionary solution on the right places meaningless index numbers with meaningful field names. Name, tier, spend. Each value is labeled. The code is self-documenting. Lists are built for homogeneous collections. Monday sales, a list of product names. When storing a complete business record with distinct attributes, lists fail because sequential indices carry no semantic meaning. Named fields do. This slide maps a spreadsheet row directly into a Python dictionary equivalent. The fundamental translation you'll use throughout this course. The spreadsheet row has 4 columns: name, email, tier, and spend. The dictionary mirrors it exactly. Name, Priya Sharma. Email, ps@mail.com. Tier, platinum. Spend, $2,090.50. Every column becomes a key. Every cell value becomes a corresponding value. This mapping is not accidental. A Python dictionary is the standard representation of a dataset or a database row or a JSON object. When you query a database or call an API, the data comes back in exactly this structure. Learning to read and write dictionaries now prepares you for working with real-world data sources in later modules. Let's dissect the system of Python dictionary so every punctuation mark makes sense. Curly braces define the dictionary boundary. Everything inside of them belongs to this record. Keys are almost always strings, written in quotes. A column separates each key from its value. Values can be any data type: strings, numbers, booleans, even other dictionaries or lists. Commas separate individual key-value pairs from one another. The last field does not need a trailing comma, though. Python allows it. The indented multiple-line format shown here is the standard convention for readability. You could write the whole dictionary on one line, but for records with more than 2 fields, the vertical layout makes it far easier to scan, edit, and spot missing fields. The Data Operations Control panel here shows the 4 fundamental things that you can do with a dictionary: read, update, add, and safe read. Read. Customer, brackets, name as a string, access a value using its key inside square brackets. Update for customer tier is equal to platinum, overwrites an existing value by reassigning the key. Add, customer active is equal to true, assigned to a key that doesn't exist yet, and Python creates a field automatically. Safe read, customer.get, phone, comma, NA. The use of get, when you're not sure a key exists, it returns none or a specified default value instead of crashing. Safe read is critical for real-world data where records may be incomplete. Never use this customer field on data from an external source without knowing the field is guaranteed to be present. Python gives you 3 ways to iterate over a dictionary, each suited to a different situation. Keys only, for k in customers.keys, iterates over the field names. Useful when you need to inspect the fields exists. Values only, for v in customer.values, iterates over the field values without their labels. The gold standard, for key, comma, value in customers.items, gives you both the key and the value simultaneously on every iteration. This is what you'll use in almost every real case scenario. The .items method is the workhorse of the dictionary iteration. It unpacks each key value pair into 2 variables, giving you full access to both the field name and the field data in every loop pass. Single dictionaries represent a record. A list of dictionaries represents an entire dataset. And this is the architecture used by virtually every business application. The spreadsheet on the left has 3 rows: Priya Sharma, Jordan Lee, Alex Kim. The Python equivalent on the right is a list where each element is a dictionary. 1 dictionary per record. Customers at 0 is Priya's record. Customers 1 is Jordan's. The entire dataset is contained in 1 variable. This list of dictionaries pattern is the standard architecture for querying and manipulating multiple records. It's how JSON APIs return data, how database query results are structured, and how Pandas data frames are built under the hood. Mastering this pattern is the gateway to real data engineering. Filtering a list of dictionaries requires combining 2 tools: a for loop to iterate through the records and an if statement to evaluate fields inside of each dictionary. The workflow shows the process clearly. The loop pulls each customer dictionary from the list one at a time. The if statement checks the specific field. Customer tier is equivalent to platinum, for example, records that pass the filter flow to the results collection. Those that don't are discarded. The result is a filtered subset of the original dataset. This combination for customer and customers, if customer field condition, is a template for every filtering operation you'll write. Change the field name and the condition to filter by any criterion: spend threshold, tier level, active status, or region. Finding the top value across a list of dictionaries uses the same search pattern from the iteration module, adapted to access dictionary fields. Step 1, initialize highest spend is equal to 0 before the loop. Step 2, inside the loop, compare customer spend is greater than the highest spend. Step 3, if the current record sets a new record, overwrite the highest spend with the current value. After the loop, highest spend holds the maximum spend value. To also capture the customer holds the record, maintain a second variable as top spender, and update it alongside highest spend for a new maximum is found. This gives you both the value and the record it belongs to. The final output for top spender is Jordan Lee of $4,200. 3 errors appear reliably when working with dictionaries for the first time. Each has clear root cause and a structural fix. Key error: your program crashes instantly because you accessed a key that doesn't exist in the dictionary. The fix is to use getKey for any field you're not certain is present. Syntax or type error with list indices: you tried to use a list style integer index, for example, record 0, on a dictionary. Dictionaries use string keys to quotes, not integers. Runtime error: dictionaries change size during iteration. You tried to add or remove keys inside of a for key in loop. This fix is to iterate over a copy and apply changes after the loop ends. Recognize the symptom and apply the structural fixes immediately. Build and access. With the key-value pairing, this creates a dictionary. The D of key creates a value. The dictionary.get key, default reads safely. Modify, so we use the dictionary of the key is equal to a new value, updates an existing field, or it adds a new one. Iterate of dictionary.items loops over the key value pairs simultaneously, the gold standard method. Scale with the record pattern. A list of dictionaries holds all records. Loop plus if is the formula for filtering. In the next module, functions. Writing reusable dictionary logic into named blocks instead of rewriting the same filter or calculation every time. You'll define it at once as a function and call it whenever you need it. That's the jump from scripting to structured programming.